Evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. I'm smiling because, believe it or not, hold on, we'll just wait for a few people to join on here because I've logged on a little bit earlier than normal. Good evening, how are you? Welcome. Denfix, Jeff, hello. I was just about to say that as I logged on, I'm smiling a bit. And what's really weird is I've done, quite a few of these now, but I get so nervous. When I'm sort of sitting here waiting to go online, I'm quite nervous about it. Which is strange because I shouldn't be, because we're just having a chat. So if I'm nervous about it, I can only imagine what the people who are coming to chat to me are going to be like. But anyway, so we're just waiting for Hannah to join us, and it won't be long, from Lucky 13 Paint Shop. So she's probably working her way down the slopes as we talk. Here we go. Got a request. No, sorry. No request, thank you. I'm just waiting for someone else, for the actual person who's doing the show. So please don't send me a request unless you're Hannah. Hannah, I've actually sent you a request.
Like I was saying, Hannah is actually having a couple of days off, and I believe she's up some Canadian or going down some Canadian slope somewhere, doing a bit of skiing or snowboarding. We'll find that out shortly. So we'll just wait for her to join on. We're probably a little bit early. She might just be getting her salopettes off, or whatever it is you do, you snow, when you ski. Yeah, that's it, ski. Also, hello Painter Izzy. So all of you guys who joined, and girls, that's really great. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this. If I have, I'm sorry. If I haven't, I'm just going to repeat myself. March is focusing on women in the business. In the trade. So I have a really good lineup of different ladies from different sort of sectors in the business. So I'm looking forward to speaking to them. Next week we have Bryce Kelly. I'm not sure if any of you know him. He's from Central Florida Dent Repair. Phenomenal work. No, she's not here yet. So hopefully she's gonna, I know she did share something, so she can't be too far away. We're just, it's funny, isn't it? Several of you sent questions in, which is great. It's always good to have a nice collection of questions. I printed them off. If any of you have any other questions you'd like to ask Hannah, please send them over. There is a little box. Some of you have it on your screen, some of you don't. There's a little box there that you can use to send the questions over, and it will just pop up on my screen. If you don't have that, put that in the comments. I'll try and remember where they are and take them on board. But obviously, talking to Hannah, I try and concentrate to what she's saying. So I'm not really very good at just talking by myself to the camera, believe it or not. Even though I've done loads of videos, but I kind of I don't know what I want to say to you. Work, yeah, we could talk about work once Hannah's away. I'm not sure. I don't know how it is for all of you. In the UK, we are struggling a little bit with COVID. I speak to a lot of people. They tell me the same sort of things. Businesses are fairly quiet. So people are having to think about their marketing and their advertising a lot more to sort of get the customers in, which is a good thing. They're probably sprucing up and just adjusting it. We are so ready for this. All right, here we go. Let's see if that's, I've got, no, that was a question. So I've got another question here. Come in. That's great. So at least we know the question box is working. How did you get into the damage world? That's not for me. All right, yeah. So it's a couple of good questions there. I'm really looking forward to this. Luma 3, good evening. Dr. Flanky. I'm just going to send Hannah another request just in case she's missed this one. Hold on, I'm just trying to remember what I'm doing here. So bear with us, guys. There we go. Hello, Andy23Y. For those of you who are new to this, I do the show every Thursday evening. You can see who's coming. And then on a Tuesday during winter, I'm doing a little bonus surprise one. So you won't know who's actually going to come on the show until that morning. Next week, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So next week, we do have another lady on the show. And I'm looking forward to talking to her. Probably quite a lot of you will know her, and if you don't, you will after that next week's Tuesday show. That's as much as I'm giving away on that one. Morning, William Mann Photography. He's a top bloke. He's helped me out on a couple of things, so thank you very much. Oh yeah, so back to business in the UK. So yeah, things are, and I think it's pretty much around the world from what I understand. Things are really tough at the moment, and I sympathise for those of you that are struggling out there with business. But we just need to make this through it. So it looks like Hannah might be stuck somewhere up a slope or skiing. She hasn't made it back, so that's a real shame. We'll give her a little bit longer, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to give up on her, really. Show the sticker. Well, that sticker there. There we go. So behind me, I don't know whether I should spoil this for you all. So behind me, I had this little board made up, and okay, so I will. So I've got a couple of stickers back there. Most of them are on my workshop board, so anyone who sends me one, unfortunately that colour one's pinning up. But where I actually am, it's in my spare room. It's in a little small sort of spare room, and I'm actually wedged between a bookshelf and my wife's wardrobe. But it works fine. It does the job. So it looks good enough, doesn't it? Anyway. So if any of you have some questions for me whilst we're waiting, that would be a good thing to do because I can always answer those. Happy to always answer those. In the workshop at the moment, I've got some bike parts that I'm going to paint tomorrow. You saw me prime them today, and I primed them using the new 3M gun, which is quite interesting. I don't want to say too much about it. I sent her first message 10 minutes ago, and she hasn't opened it yet. No, she hasn't. I know she hasn't forgotten. She's probably literally stuck on snow skiing somewhere. So yeah, what we're going to do, you might have not heard this the other day when I was talking to Sunny. We're actually going to do, between Sunny, Rach and myself, we're going to do like a Zoom sort of meeting. So we're going to get a few products between us. We're going to each test them out and get our opinions on them. And then we're going to come together and do a closed Zoom meeting, but we'll invite you and you can contribute and ask the questions, and we'll sort of tell you. I'll be able to share my opinion from the smart repair industry, Rach from being an exceptional painter, and Sunny from being a great all-round guy. So I think it'll give you a good insight into the different products that are going to come into my shop. Yeah, thanks, Izzy. I just Pinner Izzy there just mentioned about a video I did for Colad with their new lamp that they're bringing out, their fast curing lamp. It's that fast curing lamp should have really been on the market last year. It's a UV curing lamp, but unfortunately with COVID and everything, it sort of put it behind a bit. But it is, I think, it's out this month. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. You can go either to my storyboard and you'll see a link, or you can go to Pinter Izzy's and see a link there. William, you have a question. Do you have any shrink back with UV primer? Also, how do you sand it after drying? Okay, so absolutely no shrink back. That's the big advantage with that item. With UV priming is, hold on a minute. Now I've done something I can't get back. Let me just type that. Yeah, so with UV primer, that is the beauty of it. Once it's cured, and depending on the lamp that you've got, it can take anywhere from 15 seconds to 3 minutes, and it literally, that depends on the lamp. But on average, we're looking at about sort of 15 to 45 seconds to cure it. There is no sink back. It's totally gone off. And that is the beauty about it. It seals the product. There's no sink back. You can put solvent on it and it won't disrupt it at all. You won't be able to wipe it off. So it's fully cured through. With regards to sanding, it sands really well. I've had the Phoenixerin, I've had the Sikkens, I've had the Glazrit. I'm just trying to remember that. Meeper, PPG. I've got a test one in at the moment. These are all different primers, and they all sand really well. So I've had no clogging on discs or anything like that. So yeah, really, really good. I think, well, for my business, it's definitely been a game changer. There we go. Fergie Trex, he's quite new to it. He just got a lamp recently. He got the Unilight lamp, if I remember correctly, and he's saying UV primer has cut his work time down by half, and that's exactly what it's done. So it's a big investment, There's no getting around that. So once you've got your big investment of your lamp, the actual product itself is not that expensive. All right, it is if you go for something like Lazaret, it can be quite expensive. But if you go for other brands which work really well, Sikkens, depending where you are, the Sikkens, can it be used with filler primer? Yes, let me just come back to that, Andy. Let me just finish this. So because you're curing so quickly on your primer and you're saving so much time, you can actually, well, when I did it, I found that I was able to bring in another 1 to 2 jobs a week. And so for me, over the period of time, that's what pays for the lamp, because you're able to do more work. Just to go back to Andy's question, just trying to scroll through. Can it be used as a filler primer? It is a filler primer. That's one of the big things about UV priming, is it, although it looks really translucent and you don't look like you've actually covered the area that you're repairing very well, it has to be translucent to let the UV rays through to fully cure that product. But the build you're getting, with depending on the primer, and pretty much covers most of them, you are getting almost a 2K build out of a single K product. And you've got the advantage of it not being able to sink back or having any reactions because it's fully cured. Which lamp would you recommend regardless of price? Oh, I have my favorites. I don't know whether it's fair of me to say, because I try and stay impartial. They're all really good, and yeah, I think I'm going to stay impartial. It's tough, isn't it? I'm not going to say I have a favorite. What I'll say is the one that I go and reach for all the time, because I think my favorites depend on what's happening. So normally I would have gone for the Hudson wired unit because it's more powerful. But I found recently, and I think it could be my own fault, because I put it on the stand at the Hudson rather than having it in the cupboard, which is where I had it before, and it was easy just to take it out. So I'm now going for the Hudson that's in my cupboard, the rechargeable one, and I'm using that. But I could easily just as easily go and pick up the Unilight, because that works really well. If I had the Scan Grip in the cupboard, I'd do it. The Scan Grip, I haven't seen the new one with all the technology on it, but the one that I had in was probably my least favorite, and the only reason for that, I just found it a bit too big, which kind of let it down a bit weight-wise, because when you're holding it, you don't want to be holding something for even 30-45 seconds. You want it to be lighter. So that would answer that question. Yep, so Fergie got the Unilight, and I think he's really pleased with that. Izzy's got the Unilight as well. She loves it, and she actually had the Tesla before this, but I see her using the Unilight all the time, so there's a positive there. Give us your top 3 UV lights. Top 3, I think I pretty much said them there. So top 3 would definitely be the Unilight, the Hudson rechargeable, and the Hudson wired. Those would be my top 3 lamps. However, I do have something coming in that's supposed to be something like 850 milliwatts. Well, do you know what? If we're going to bring wired units into the conversation, so I would say the Colab that I tested was also really, really good, because it was lightweight. Even though it was a wired unit, I mean, it was definitely the lightest out of all of them, and it was super powerful. But I would put that up with sort of Hudson wired unit, because the cost is going to be around there. So any one of those lamps is going to make your business more profitable in the long term. Expensive in the short term because you've got the investment, but in the long term, it's going to pay itself back. Evening Will, sorry. Have you tried the Colab Putty with other UV lamps? Yeah, I have tried the Colab Putty with everything. And I think the Colab Putty for me is definitely the best filler product that I've used to date. Close to that is the one from FX Specular. The only thing that sort of lets that down for me is that it's not easy to get. But the Colab Putty, if you talk about the coarse and the fine, the coarse, I would say I would use the coarse sort of 80% more than I would use the fine. The fine is literally just for, if you've prepped a panel, you're almost ready to paint, and you see there's a little chip that you just missed in the panel. that's where I'd use the fine, just to sort of skim over that really lightly, 800 it or 1000 it, and then it's ready for paint. So yeah, really, really, really good product. And curing time is 3 seconds on that. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like Hannah's around. What a shame. I'm going to just send one more request for her, see if she can pick it up. And let's just see. I know she was really, really looking forward to it, as were many of you guys and girls. UV primer is also isonate free. Yep, there you go. It is isonate free because you don't have to have the card. The only problem with that, Master Lack, is that okay, so it doesn't have the isocyanate in it, but what it does have is some other harsher chemicals in it. So you still need to wear masks and don't be spraying it without any sort of breathing gear on. Also, if you're going to be curing, you must always wear the glasses because otherwise you'll damage your eyes. No, have you tried other UV lights on the Colab? Yeah, all of them. I've tried them all. So they all work really well. The uni light, it takes 1 second slower. That's all. So instead of 3 seconds, you're talking 4 seconds to cure the putty. So it's nothing. It's not even worth. It's not even really worth mentioning, is it? I think I'm surprised you don't have any Colab because you should get some of that. They need to send you some because you'll be really impressed with it. Are UV primers direct to metal? Depending on which ones you want, but Izzy might be able to answer this. I believe Sikkens maybe. I know the Glazra is, and a couple of the other ones that I have tested, they can go straight to metal. If you're not sure, you can always acetate it and just edge prime it first. But yeah, they should go straight onto there. We brush touch-in chips with UV primer. There you go. That's another good way of doing it. Although I find sometimes touching it in Island Customs, you do leave a little bit of a dimple, whereas with the putty, it just flattens off nicely. That's just me. Cold process with no reaction, absolutely. And I need a new date to do this because we really want to see it. I know, we'll try and get her in. I'm sure she'll be really upset. Izzy, do you want to step in for her? Just put Izzy on the spot there. She's probably got hair and curlers or something. How's your chance, Izzy? There you go. No, Izzy is actually coming on the show. She has agreed to come on the show, and she's going to be one of our features in March. So watch out for that. Actually, I'll tell you who we could have on here once. Who can we have? So I'm going to open this up to anybody. Who can we have on there? And we'll see how good my chat skills are. So I'm going to send, what we'll do is we'll send her, yeah, Izzy's going to be another day, so look forward to that one. I think I got her at a really good moment to say yes, so I'm super chuffed with that, super chuffed. I'm going to send Lucky Paint 13 one more request. Hopefully she'll pick it up. If not, I will open this up to anybody else on here. If you fancy jumping on and having a chat with me, you're more than welcome because I'm here. People are on here. The questions I might not have questions exactly for you, but we can still find out a little bit more about you. So that's a real shame. But you know, these things happen. This is what happens when you do live things, isn't it? Although I do know she was really keen. What's going on in my life as well, I'll just quickly tell you. This weekend, I don't know what it's like everywhere else, but this weekend in the UK, it's supposed to be snowing, really cold, which is not great because on Sunday I have a virtual 10K race to raise money for cancer research. So I'm looking forward to that. I haven't trained much, so it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but it's for a good cause, which is the main thing. Right, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's unable to join. So who would like to jump in? Is there someone out there? Anybody? Master Leck? Would you like to have a chat with me? If you don't know Master Leck, he's a top painter. Really nice guy from Holland again. And his TikTok videos are really funny. So he's quite a good character. But I think you're all too shy to come on. That's such a shame. I'm just scrolling through and seeing who's on here. And the problem is, a lot of you wouldn't have prepped for this, so I know you feel nervous about doing it. Oh, well, okay. These things happen. So we'll call it a day then if we can't do it, Master Leck. Go on, Master Leck. Do you want to do it? I would, but I'm really tired right now. Oh, well, it is 8 o'clock in where you are, so I suppose that's quite late. And you do long days, I know that. So Costas, hello. That's Costas from Greece. He's a lovely guy as well. So many nice people on here tonight. And I wish I could just chat rubbish, but I can't. Well, that's what happens is actually I do end up chatting rubbish and then people switch off. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep it interesting, not about me. Actually, should we go through the questions? Let's do it this way. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to have some fun. So these are the questions that I would have asked Hannah, but instead I'll ask them to myself and I'll answer them myself until maybe she jumps on. Right. Some of you already know these answers, so if you do, please bear with us. So here we go. Please could you give us all an insight into your background and what made you become a paint shop owner? So my background, I grew up in Kenya. I'm third generation Kenyan, and my family came from sort of all over the place. I've recently found out I actually have Indian origins in my blood, so that's interesting. Although I can't eat hot food. And then when I left school, my story is very, very similar to a lot of you, and I found there's a common thread here. A lot of us refinishers seem to have left school very early. Some of us didn't get on very well at school. I was one of those people. I was disruptive. Disruptive, that's probably a good way of saying it, and there was always better things to be doing than learning in school. So I left school. I wanted to move into the world of safaris because I thought it looked more glamorous. So I did. I moved into that, and I did that for quite a long time. I really, really enjoyed it. Great experience. Met a lot of people. Did some fun things. I actually managed to work with the BBC on a couple of their wildlife programs called Big Cat Diaries. So that was really interesting. And then I moved to the UK. I sort of had enough of living in Kenya, so I moved over to the UK, and I needed to find something else that suited. I was always better working on my own, and so I was sort of came across Smart Repairs. There was a franchise company that was looking. You could go and do a course there, but I didn't want to be part of a franchise because I didn't want to be accountable to somebody else and pay a franchise fee, because I just think, why, if you're doing all the hard work, why would you want to pay somebody part of your profit? So I went on the course. I said, look, I'll do the course, but I don't want to be part of the franchise. And so that was fine. So I did that 1 week course. 1 week course. I'd never painted a car in my life, but my dad was in the car business. So I did this 1 week course, and that was almost 20 years ago. And then from there, I got a van. I went round to all the dealerships. I was quite cheeky actually. I'd ring up a dealership if it was quiet. I'd ring up a dealership and I'd say, "Hi, I'm in your area in about half an hour, 45 minutes. Do you need anything doing?" I was nowhere near there. It'd probably take me half an hour, 45 minutes to drive to the dealership. But I thought, I'm just going to be proactive. I'm just going to phone that dealership and just, if it means I have to blag that I'm in the area, I'll blag that I'm in the area. But it worked. It paid. I did really well. I worked in one of my biggest dealerships, was working in a Mercedes-Benz dealership. So I worked there for quite a while. I used to go into once or twice a week, all day, and just like whiz through all their cars. And then I got I want to see your personal car. My personal car is nothing exciting. It's really it's a Nissan MV 200 van. I'm not a great lover of cars. I love my job, but I'm not a great lover of cars. So the van that's my beast. I put my mountain bike in there. I chuck the stuff from the garden when it needs to go to the dump, and yeah, that's where I have. My wife Sarah, she actually has another Nissan. I think I have this affection for Nissans because my dad used to work for Nissan, the Nissan dealership in Kenya. So I kind of drawn a little bit to them. But yeah, Sarah has a Nissan Qashqai. So which every time I get in to drive, I have no clue. I have to ask her, how do I switch this on? How do I switch that? It's just never in that anyway. How can you not love cars? I dream of cars. I know, but you know, it's just I love my job, but there's better things I feel that I could dream about instead of cars. That question, by the way, was from Painter Esme, who, by the way, is gonna launch the Ladies in Business in March. She's going to be the first person on the show on the first Thursday of March, so please tune in for that. I'm really, really looking forward to having a catch up with Esme and hearing how she's getting on. Feels the same, Rebel Painter. So just saw a question come in there. No, that wasn't for me. Someone sent a question, but I cannot see it. Right, okay. So where was it? Oh yeah. So then the car business. So I was driving around everywhere doing this stuff, and I decided I wanted to have a workshop. So I rented a little bay, and from there I was still mobile. So I had this workshop. I used to reverse my van into the workshop, put the car next to it, and be still working out my van. And then one day I thought, this is crazy. I've got a workshop, but I've got the van. I'm still spraying out the van, but I have the workshop. So I found another workshop that was slightly bigger, and I then just took that leap. I sort of stopped all my on-road contracts, and I just went to the workshop because I found I couldn't do both. I couldn't go and do mobile repairs and do a static workshop, because when I was out on the road doing a mobile repair, I'd be missing the people coming to my workshop, and so it just didn't make any sense. Now, a lot of you who are in business would say, well, that would be the ideal time to take somebody on. And yes, you're right, it would. But I probably have a bit of maybe I like to be in control of stuff a bit too much, and so I can't. You know, I've spent that time building up my reputation for qualities of repairs. You know, how to deal with the customers, and so I just couldn't give that to somebody and run the risk of that being destroyed overnight, which it can easily do. So that's why I've never grown my business. It's not because I don't have anything to teach, because I have loads to teach, and as you see, I'm always happy to help people on here, and if you're stuck and help you with the knowledge that I have. But I just can't let someone else run the business. I don't know. It's a very hard thing, and when you've been in that situation, you'll understand. So Becky says that as well. So that's what it was, and then I've been now in the unit that I'm in for about sort of 15 years, and I don't regret it. It's been a really good move for me. You know, the thing is, you are stuck there. You have to wait for the people to come to you. What's your favorite lacquer? I'll come back to that in a moment. So yeah, you have to do that. So you always have to be proactive. You can't be reactive. You can't just wait for the phone to stop ringing, or people not turning up to then say, Christ, now I've got no work coming in, what am I going to do? You always need to be driving that business forward, always. So, you don't want to be thinking of next week or tomorrow or next week. You want to be thinking 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road. How are you going to get that business in? What can you do? What sort of marketing you can do? If you're thinking about tomorrow and tomorrow comes in, you've got no work in, it's too late. It's too late. That's when a business will struggle. So always look to the future. I'm not very good at planning. In fact, I'm terrible at planning. If somebody said to me, where do you want to be in 5 years? I have no clue. But I am good at marketing myself in the business, and that's what I try and do, just, constantly stay on top of it all. So, right, I'm rambling on, but I hope you're finding that all interesting. I'm just going to go back to that question. What's my favorite lacquer? My favorite lacquer at the moment is, for the repairs that I do, is the Octral C450, and I work with a 23 hardener, which is the hardest, the fastest. There's also the 24. So depending on the seasons and the time of the year and how large an area I'm painting, I'll work with either the 23 or the 24. I'll give you a little bit of information about this. Is if you're working with a 23, it's an air dry product only. So what I tend to do is I will do all my prep work in the morning and shut the doors down at 2 o'clock and paint, and then I will just leave it overnight to cure, air dry, come in the morning, denib if I need to, take out a run if I need to, and we all get runs, and put it all back together, polish up, put it all back together. If you're going to be force drying, so you're out on the road, you really want to be working with the number 24 hardener, because that is a force dry and an air dry product, so you can use it either way depending on how you want to do it. So yeah, that's the product I use. I'm actually testing a clear coat at the moment for somebody. They just want my opinion on it, and yeah, really pleased with that. Bit slower than I would have liked, but the product looks really good, no gloss drop. And also for those of you who follow me on the sort of UV gang world, I've tested out a UV clear that cured the whole front wing or fender it in 30 or it was just over 30 seconds to cure the whole thing. I mean, and that's phenomenal. And it's in my workshop, it's in the other bay, and I walk past it every day. I sort of tap it to see if anything's gone wrong with it. No gloss drop. It looks impressive. But I haven't got the courage to sort of take that leap and actually do a wing on a car yet. I need to do it. I'm going to leave it there and just keep checking on it. I need to know that it'll last first before I do that. Hard to find people you trust when your reputation is at risk. Absolutely. That's true. So give me a job, Chase Braille. I wish. I get so many people sort of asking, can I give them a job? And I'd love to be in that sort of situation to give you guys a job and take on some people, but I don't, unfortunately. I'm such a small business. Carl Healy, what made you choose Octral paint? Well, that's a good question. How did that come about? Well, so when I first started, I was actually on a Standox Smart Repair scheme. That's just what came with and it was solvent back then. And so that's what came with the franchise company. So that's what I had. And then I'm not quite sure why I moved from that, but oh yes, I do. Regulations were changing in the UK. So I moved from that to the Leckler water base. And again, that was on a sort of smart repair scheme. Who did I get that from? Anyway, I can't remember who I got that from. Smart Expressor possibly. And then that was okay. I didn't find it. It was a good product, but I didn't find it the color match is that great. I mean, and this was a long time ago, so now it would be totally different, because I know there's guys who use Leckler and love it. So it was some time ago, and I can't say that it's the same now, because it probably isn't. And in fairness, there's not one paint system that's ever going to be 100%. And then from there, I wanted, because I had a couple of issues with the color matching. Obviously, back then, almost 10 years ago now, I wanted to look for something better. And Octral was just coming onto the market, and there was a big push for it, and I could get a full scheme at a really good price. No spectrophotometer then, that was just out of the price. So I moved to the Octral and got all the color chips. And yeah, I've not looked back really. It's been a really good system. And I sort of 2 years ago, I invested in the spectrophotometer. That was a big investment, really big investment, but I'm so glad I did it, especially when you're doing a solid color, because, I mean, mine's the old Spectra, so it only does 3 readings, whereas the new ones have got, takes 5 different readings, which is much better. But I found that if you're doing a solid color, even if it doesn't get the color right on the first reading, you can actually do, I can't remember what it's called. Let's say it's something like match my color, something like that. So it'll actually reread it, and say that original reading of the solid color, the solid yellow or red or whatever it was at 0.8. So on the Octral scheme, the closer to 0 you are, the more accurate. And when you get to like 1, you don't really want to be going above 1. You could probably blend it, but it's a bit risky. So you really want to be below 1 on the scale. And then obviously the closer to 0, the more accurate it's going to be. So if we're matching a color and it comes out at 0.8 accuracy, if you've just done a general read for that car, you can then come in and do this color match where it actually will formulate the color itself, and often it's brought it down to almost, between 0.1, 0.2, so much more accurate. And I really, really like that. I wish they had that feature for the metallics. I don't think it'll be long until they do, but the problem with reading a metallic in a spectrophotometer, you've got the metallic flakes in there, so it throws it all off, and it is quite difficult to do. Hopefully that answers your question how I moved to Octral. What else have we got there? And I think the Octral prices are pretty fair as well with regard to tinters, so that's good. Island Customs, since Hannah couldn't answer my questions, I'll ask you, Wayne, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night about your business, and what gets you out of bed in the morning and motivates you? What gets me out of bed in the morning, that's really simple. I just love life. That's it. I'm an early bird. I don't like to stay in bed. I think that probably comes back down to my childhood. We were never allowed to lie in the morning. It was always get up, get going, and early bird catches the worm. So, and see, in fact, actually, it moved on from my childhood being brought up by my parents to the safari world, because the best time for the game drives was leaving the camps at sort of 5 in the morning, 5:30, just as the sun is starting to rise, to get out there to see what's happened over the night, what lions have killed, been on what prey, just read the tracks in the ground as you're out on the game drive. It's just, that is the best time. Then you got the sun rising out as you're out on the plains looking at the game. So yeah, best time to be up. And I'm up. I'm definitely an early bird, get up, but I fade so quickly. So in the evening, come 8, 9 o'clock, I could easily fall asleep. What your other question was, what keeps me up at night about my business? Actually, nothing keeps me up at night about my business. The only time I will have a restless night's sleep with regards to my business is if the job has not gone the way I want it to. And so I'm sort of in my head, I'm thinking about like I said earlier, we all get paint runs. So if I've got a paint run in my job, even though I know how to get it out the next morning, and it's textbook, it's still on my mind, and I'm still in my mind, I'm playing over and over how I'm going to approach that run, how I'm going to do it, then what the next stage is, then the next stage. So that is the only thing that keeps me up about my business. I'm a bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy, really. I don't, I said to you, I don't plan things. I don't worry too much about stuff. I just go with the flow, and if it happens, then I worry about it, which which contradicts what I said earlier about planning ahead. So I do plan ahead with regards to marketing and getting business, but just as regards to everyday sort of stuff and problems, a problem is a problem when the problem is there, not when the problem is in the future. You can't worry about something that is happening. It's always better to address it when it happens. Would love to get a walk through the outside or inside of your shop someday. Oh, Izzy, it's a mess. No, it's not that bad, but it's a bit of a mess at the moment. But I will do a little walk. I did the little thing on the compressor the other day, so I will do a little walk for you guys. If you'd like that, yeah, I'll do something. My workshop is. My workshop, I wish I had pictures of how it was when I first moved in there, because it's totally different. When I first moved into my workshop, it was literally a mechanical workshop. That's what they'd used it for. It was for the car sales in the front. They had that to sort of do the servicing on their cars. So I then took it over. The ceilings were all open. I boxed up the ceilings, plasterboarded up the ceilings, put insulation up there. I put radiators in the actual workshop bit. Painted everything. I've just painted the floor, which has now got paint on it, unfortunately, color paint. And so I've just sort of done things, put the extractors in. I kind of wish I had Facebook, Instagram, all of these things were around and people to ask, because I spent quite a bit of money on stuff that if I hadn't known about it, I probably wouldn't have spent as much money, and it would have saved me. But you learn from your mistakes. So yeah, I'll do that little walk, and hopefully it might help some of you out and show you what I've got. Rebel, yeah, we'll do that. What have we got here? Specky, if you had to buy your first UV lamp or kit for mobile smart repairs, what would you recommend and why? I think you need to, it's not so much what lamp would I buy, it's what lamp fits your budget. Because for me, it's all about getting UV priming. So if you can only afford a £300 scan grip light, or a £300, it's actually just a little bit less than that, the MEPA set that they've got going, then buy it. You just, don't expect to be curing in 30 seconds or 15 seconds. Work to the TDS, because those lamps are nowhere near as powerful as the ones that are around £1,000 and £2,000. So, as long as you realize that you will have to cure something. So if you take the Tesla or the Unilight or the Headzen, and you're curing between sort of 30 to 45 seconds, with the £300 lamp, you really, to get a full walk away and know that you've got a sound cure on that primer, you're looking at sort of between 2.5 to 3 minutes. So you can see the difference. So that's still going to be quick than a conventional 2K primer. So it's still going to be time saving. So really, Specky, that's got to come down to what you can afford. And there's no reason why you can't go for that cheaper one. And if it gets you on the market and gets you doing one extra job a week or every 2 weeks, then, gradually you can afford that more expensive lamp, and that will give you even more jobs a week. Mr. Leck, it's really hard to run your own business. That's why I always support your cause and know what it takes. Yes, running a business is really hard. I think it's not for everybody. Let's be absolutely honest. It's not, because you've got to get your ass out of bed. You've got to go down to that workshop. You've got to do the work. You've got to be motivated. If you don't have those things to do that, you're going to absolutely struggle. At the moment, for me, it's a little bit quieter in my workshop. It's just with COVID, people are a little bit scared to come out. Traditionally, this time of the year, I'm normally booked up a month to 2 months ahead. A month and a half to 2 months ahead. That's my sort of lead time at this time of the year. And at the moment, I'm working currently at around sort of 2 to 3 weeks. So that's still really good compared to other people, but it's difficult. So I find that my days might be a little bit quieter, which is nice. But like we were talking the other day, I think it was with, I can't remember, I think it might have been Paint by Tony. But when you have a quieter day, it is actually a harder day to work, because you don't need to rush that job, and you don't need to concentrate and focus on what you're doing. You're not under that pressure. And actually being under pressure is a really good way of working. Not extreme pressure, but just light pressure. It's a really good way of working, because it makes you focus on what you're doing. You've got to get this done by this stage, etc., etc. But when you have a like today, I had to prime those panels, so it was a bit more relaxed in my workshop today. Adam was in this morning doing some dents, and I was a bit. But because of that, what would normally you could whiz through in like no time, things are just so much slower, and it's like, oh yeah, I can do that, and almost time runs away, or you sit down and you just I get distracted a lot, so I have to refocus. I always have to sort of refocus myself and say, right, come on. But yeah, that's how it works. So yeah, running a business is exceptionally hard. You've got to know your limits. If paperwork is not your limit, your strong limits, like we were talking with Sunny on Tuesday, delegate that. Give that to somebody. Hire in a bookkeeper or an accountant, and just stick to your strong points. Stick to what makes you good, and that helps building your empire. Detailing Girl, she knows all about this because she's building a little empire, but we'll find out more about that soon. Thanks for the tip on the clear. It's really good. That's no problem. See you folks. Lunchtime is over me. Guns N' Roses, thank you so much. Guns N' Roses, not Guns N' Roses. What is your biggest challenge, fear, starting out your own business? Biggest challenge, fear. I think the biggest challenge was probably learning stuff, because I'm not educated in this business. Like I said to you, I had a 1 week crash course on how to do smart repairs. And so everything else I know and that you see me doing now, I've taught myself. I've taught myself, but I've known my limitations. So like the car that came in last week, where the wheel arch was all rusted out and it needed to have a new wheel arch cut in and welded, that's not my strength. That's not what I do. And so you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to say, look, we all know that there's people that would have just fiberglassed that, bodged it up and got it back out there, and that's fine. Well, it's not fine, but it happens. But that's not me, and I would much rather be honest with the customer. If I've unwrapped something like that and found that sort of defect, just say to the customer, look, I'm really sorry, but that's not my skill level. And there was no way of knowing that damage was there until I'd got to that point. And the customer respected me that and was really appreciative. So I think my biggest challenge was stepping into a world where there's so many qualified people and really, really experienced people, and having to start from nothing to get to something. But you just need to believe in yourself. You need to be positive. You need to believe in yourself and not give up. Don't give up. It's too easy to give up. So try and do that. And the fear of starting your own business, I guess the fear of starting your own business for anybody would be failure. But failure is not failure. If you fail at something, it means you've learned a lesson. You've learned the lesson on how not to do that again. And so there is no such thing as failure, but a lesson to learn from your failures, if that makes sense. I believe that anyway. So, Christ, I fail at things all day long. There's always something that I get wrong and it's not worked out how it should do, but I know for the next time how to get it right. So that particular thing won't be a failure. Have you ever tried Silco? Yes, I have tried Silco. I tried Silco a couple of years ago when it came onto their market. They brought me their Smart Clear. I really liked it, and in fact, I think it might be on my YouTube channel. There's a little review on it, and you can see how positive I was about it. I found it quite a thin product, and I got quite a few runs in my paintwork, and I was having to rectify that. But this is something I always say to people: if a product fails, majority of the time it's not the product, it's the user. And so, and it's taken me a while to realize this. 20 years. I could easily say, oh yeah, the product was rubbish, it failed, it just ran, it didn't work. But did it fail? Or was it because I did not understand how to use that product properly? So it would be something I'd like to be able to try again with the knowledge I have now. And then I can say, and I would address it differently, and then I would be more informed on that decision. So yes, I tried the Silco, it worked well, I struggled with it, but that was probably down to me. What job have you painted and thought to yourself, whoa, that's nice? Oh, what jobs? I can't think off the top of my head. I think probably if we think about the latest job I did was that Range Rover bumper that I just did where it was really badly cracked. The customer was told he needed a new bumper. So I welded that all up and I was really, really pleased with that. When I was at school, that's why I'm hesitating, because we used to do Swahili classes, and our Swahili teacher, whenever we sort of congratulated ourselves on something or thought we'd done well with a certain phrase or test or something like that in Swahili, he would always turn around to us and say, "Don't blow your own horn." And that stuck with me ever since then, because it's almost like, don't, and yeah, don't blow your own horn, really. Just don't, or the English version is don't blow in your own trumpet, because as soon as you think you're really good at something will go wrong and then it knocks you back down again. So always try, and I always try and stay humble and not big myself up. But if I was happy with the job, it was that Range Rover. What else have we got here? Big fan. Carl is a big fan of Octral. Spectrum is a brilliant piece of kit. Spectrum, not quite sure on what that is. Oh, Spectrum photometer, maybe that's what that is. Color correction. If you're asking me about color correction, Island, I'm not quite sure what that is. Hope one day I can learn painting cards too. Would love so much to understand the paint better. Detailing girl, there's so much to learn there. And I'd say come and spend a day with me, but I think you'd just be as confused as you are now. So that's probably not a good suggestion. But that offer's always open if you ever want to take it up. Definitely comes in handy for detailing. So appreciate your answers to my questions. Yeah, I'm just having a look through here, so please bear with me. I'm just trying to read them and answer them at the same time. What advice do you give for someone just starting out in business and as a painter body tech? So Adam J84, if you're just starting out a business, are you actually opening a business or are you just starting out working for someone? So two different things. If you're working for someone, be humble and try and soak up as much information from those around you as you possibly can. If you're starting up your own business, just have that drive. Never give up. Just don't ever give up. We're always going to have hard days. We're going to have good days. It's like riding a wave. I always say this. It's a bit, and I love mountain biking. So the best bit about mountain biking is not going up the hill. It's the coming down the hill. But when you ride a wave, it's something different. And business is like riding a wave. So you're always going to get those peaks and those troughs. But what you got to remember is when you're down at the bottom of that wave, there's always another wave to bring you back up. So you just need to just see it through, and everything will be fine. I hope that helps that. You should definitely look into Detailing Girl, maybe Island Customs. Island Customs, because this is Andrew Porth. Unfortunately, I lost the Island Customs DU chats. I don't know what happened. It just didn't download it, and I was absolutely gutted because, Todd TJ is such an honest and open guy, and he's got an amazing backstory. So I was really, really gutted because he was so open about how he got to where he was, and there were some great stories there. So what we're doing, this was going to be a surprise, but seeing as though we're on here today, I've actually cleared the diary for next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. So we're going to have 3 DU chats. I hope that's not too many for you. So we're going to have the surprise one on Tuesday. I'm not going to spoil that surprise. You'll have to tune in Tuesday morning. And then we're going to have TJ Todd on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. And then we have Bryce Kelly on Thursday. So full on next week. So please tune in for that. The questions will be slightly different because... no, I think we'll keep the questions the same because I think for those of you who missed it, it'd be interesting to hear sort of Todd's backstory. Great idea. Come visit me in Norway. Yeah, right. So there you go, Esme. Go and visit Painter Izzy. You won't get a better teacher than her. That's for sure. And you can teach her some detailing skills. Right. I'd love to come to that as well. That'd be an amazing day. Body shop cribs, including all the dusty corners. Okay, I will do that for you. If you want to see it, I will do it. But please don't judge me on it. Judge me on my work, but not necessarily all my workshop. I that was dream to come and work with Yeezy. There you go. It sounds like that could be a post-COVID date. We don't mind the dust and best way, and it's real. That's what we like. Okay, great, perfect opportunity. Esme and Izzy are having a great little chat on here, which is lovely. I love the way that you guys all contribute and chat. It just makes it really good. It's a bit distracting when I'm talking to the people I'm chatting to, but it's nice. I try and read them and I try and listen to whoever I'm talking to at the same time. Check some of my repair panel work. Guilt, please, guys. Okay, well, if you Guilt, I believe it's Guilt 2502. If you want to tag me next time you do a story, I'm quite happy to check it out. And if it looks cool, we'll post it up. That's not a problem at all. Just watch out for Silicon Detailing Girl. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, silicon is painter's worst nightmare. More quality of the repair. I definitely don't want to see rework. See what Sunny Scoop deal is tomorrow. Oh yes, good points, Becky. So there's a really good. If you're on Facebook and you want to get into UV curing, I would recommend you follow a Facebook forum page called Refinishing Crew, because tomorrow he launches an amazing deal. So an amazing offer. So stay tuned for that one. Best tip ever. I'm not quite sure what that tip was. Maybe the silicon. And rust return in 6 months. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, absolutely. So Guilt 2502. I actually don't do any rust work. It's because I can't guarantee it. So I would rather walk away from the job and clean my workshop than try and do a rusty job that I know will possibly come back. If you had to choose interior repairs or exterior repairs, leathers, etc., Specky, absolutely. I would go interior repairs all day long. I absolutely love interior repairs. I find them really relaxing. Actually, yeah. So if there was a job that I was really impressed with. So some of the interior repairs, when you get a really grubby interior come in and you clean it up, you've keyed it all, and then you refinish it and it looks like new again. That sometimes I sort of walk away from that, and I think that looks really smart. The other interior repairs, exteriors repairs, done that. So yeah, interior repairs would work for me. Absolutely one of the best guys I've heard in the story. Thank you, Esme. Johnny Silko, we're just whizzing through here. I can't believe I've only got 7 minutes left. Normally, I'm not very good at chatting, but it's because you guys have spurred me on. So I thank you so much for that. You've made it really easy, just sort of reading through your comments and answering them as we've gone along. Learn, you need to learn. It's easy if you do not struggle with color. Or we could better color correct. Okay, so that's it. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to make sure we're up to date. We pretty much got it. Okay, so right, I always end my chats with a tip. Shall we end with a tip for you guys? What tip would I share with you? My tip to share with you would be not just one. There's a couple. Okay, I can never have one, can I? It's so funny how you just turned that. No, sorry. My tip to share with you is just be honest with yourself. In fact, I was talking to somebody today who has struggled with some issues, and he was doing some videos on YouTube and Instagram. Then he pulled away because he didn't feel that he had the confidence in it, and then he came back. And I was talking to him about it, and I was just saying to him, look, just don't worry about what other people think. Just be honest with yourself. Keep true to what you do, and don't be afraid to make that video, because, and I do it all the time. I make something and previously I was afraid to sort of talk about something or show my work because I thought, well, I'll be judged by others, and I guess I'll always be judged by others. But if I can help one person with that video or my tip or idea, however silly I might think it is, then that's it. So just be true to yourself, embrace life, and just do something that you would not normally do. And there was a really good film. It's actually after a book. It was called Yes Man, but the film was made by Jim Carrey as well. And I believe it was called Yes Man. And it's basically where he had to say yes to everything. He could not say no. His life was in the dumps. His girlfriend had dumped him. He didn't want to go out to, it's like your friend rings up, oh, do you want to come out tonight? And you say, no, I'm washing my hair, or whatever it is. You always have an excuse for not going out. And in the movie, and this was based on a true story actually, but in the movie it's always dramatized a bit. But something happened and he had to always say yes. So everything. So Windows salesman rang up. Would you like new windows? He had to say yes. Yes. So he ends up. So all of this sort of stuff happened. But it's just how his life turned around, and became better just by saying yes. So if you're going to say no, think twice before you say no, because sometimes that yes, even though it's out of your comfort zone, might be the best yes decision you've ever made. And that sort of brings me back to I'm looking at the time. I've got 4 minutes. Quick. So that brings me back to CIMAC last year. Last year, CIMAC rang me up and they said, we would like you to come out to to our place in Italy. And I said to him on this video call, I said, have you seen my workshop? Do you know I work only on my own? There's just me here. He said, yes, because we value your opinion. So I thought, fine, okay. So we discussed everything, and I went out there. And we had COVID going around. We had all of these kind of things happening. So really, and if you saw it, I had the mask on, and everyone was keeping their distance in the plane. It was a really weird and surreal adventure. But I said yes, and the doors that has opened, and the experience that it gave me. I've never worked or been anywhere near an environment as smart as that CIMAC site that I went to. And so just by saying yes and doing something that I would not normally have done, it proved the point. So yeah, that's it. Say yes and think twice before saying no. Obviously, if somebody says jump off a cliff, don't say yes, because that would be ridiculous. Okay, that's it. I'm done. I've really enjoyed chatting to you all tonight. It's the first time I've ever done something like this, so thank you so much. You've been very encouraging. I'm sorry Hannah didn't make it. I will chat to her and we'll try and get her back. We'll try and fit her in. I've got one slot left in March, so hopefully we'll get her to fit in that. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you very, very much for your support tonight. I've really, really appreciated it. Have a good evening, everyone, and stay safe.